My name is Lisa Parrish. We're here to do Mame University. And one thing I want to just start off with is the first thing you always want to look into when you're going to enter an awards program is your intent, okay? It's just like the Academy Awards. The Academy Awards, the intent of the reason people nominate to go into the Academy Awards, and it's a nomination process, by the way, is because they want to do one of three things, actually. They either want to market their movie, they want to market themselves, or they want to market their star, okay? So step back and think about that in your own application. I'm either marketing my company, I'm marketing my community, or I'm marketing my individual, okay? Your salesperson, your marketing manager, whomever. And when you look at it in that reference, it puts you in a totally different light. Because if you're marketing your company, you're going out to say, okay, I want to gain more business, I want to get more attention so that we can have return on investment. Because that's just it. This is an investment. You're investing your time, your entry fee, your photography, all of your work into this. And so you're going to take this and look at this as though it's a business development type of application, okay? And the reason I want you to start thinking of it that way is we're all very busy. The market has gotten much more robust. People are, you have your daily work every day where somebody's paying you to do something. This is taking your time away from that project and putting it into a different realm. So when you think of it in that professionalism way, you're not going to wait until the day of deadline to go, we got to turn in our Mame entries. We better go submit now. And then all of a sudden the anxiety hits and you're going to do it at the last minute. That is not a good plan, okay? So first thing I want you to do is really think about the intent of what you're trying to do. Am I marketing our company because we want to get more work? Am I marketing a new community because I want it to get branded and I want to make sure it's going to go out to the industry and the consumers to gain more traction, to get more people to walk through the door? Or am I marketing my folks because, one, when you're entering or submitting for professional achievement, there are a couple reasons why to do that. And some people go, why should I do it? One, it's retention, employee retention, all right? When you recognize someone for doing a good job, they realize that the company they work for recognizes that they're doing something for them. Two, it's getting out to the industry that you value your people. And three, it's a feel-good, okay? It's one of those things. Nobody ever goes home and says, boy, I wish my company had not submitted me for that award. It never happens, okay? And it's a really good test for those people to go through and have, it's almost like a review of what they've done for the year and what they need to tune up or what they want to embellish. So I just really want everyone to kind of approach this with that in mind. When you go at these entries, there is really a marketable way of bringing back more work to your company and more buyers to your sales offices if you go in that way. Everyone who approaches this and says, this is something I'm going to do at the very last minute because I'm just doing it because Philip called me and says, you should submit, I'm going to tell you right now, it shows through. Because it's kind of like when you turn in your homework. If you plan to get a C or a B, you're going to get a B or a C. If you go and approach something and you want to get an A, it's going to shine through. The people who are judging or who are on the judging panel are your contemporaries, okay? They're sitting there and they're reviewing you with pure heart, looking at the materials that they're given. They are not from your market, okay? They're not familiar with who you are, what you are, and all you are is a number, okay? So knowing that, you're going to have to do a little introduction to things of that nature. You might want to explain to them, so this is in Castle Rock. Castle Rock is a suburban market. It's located south of Denver. It's someone who's commuting or maybe a local buyer. And so this is, it gives them some form of reference so that when they are looking at the materials, they get a kind of familiarity. So, but they look at your materials and what they're doing, if you can imagine, they're just like you. They have entered and won in their own local market. That's how you get to be a judge, okay? So they understand the whole process. They have, they feel your pain. They've been through it. And so they understand how an entry works. So the other thing is you have to remember is they're giving of their time. And so what you want to be is respectful. You want to put your entry together in the most professional way because that person's sitting there giving you their time to review all of your work. And if you just slapped it in and said, hey, so this is a really nice project and it's located here and it has, really pretty exterior and gray walls, you're never going to win, okay? So I guess my first point is approach this with professionalism. That's the number one key. So going back, I wanted to just remind you of some important dates. And we've put together a package for you, Mame University package, and that has all of the key information in it as well. That's going to be your reference guide. It's got tips and tricks. It's got reasons to submit. It's got some sample marketing statements and so forth that we're going to go through later on. But the number one key element that you're going to want to know right now is that there are 2 entry deadlines to be aware of. The first entry deadline is August 18th, and it's a 2-step submittal process. The first step is you're going to review all of the categories and determine which you're going to submit for. And then you're going to submit your entry application in order to generate your entry numbers, okay? That's the early bird date is August 18th, and for that, you have a reduced entry fee of $175, okay? Now, that's kind of like your first gauge benchmark. You have all the way up to September 8th to submit, but on the 19th of August, the entry fee goes up from $175 to $225, okay? So those early adopters who want to get in early, you get a little price break. And you're also going to be that much further ahead in getting your materials numbered. So just remember that to begin with. Now, materials are due by September 8th. September 8th at midnight. No extensions. Don't call. It's not happening. I have made a blood oath that we will not accept any entries past that date. So you really need to be hard and fast. And it's going to be, we're going to timestamp all the entries this year, and I am not allowed to extend anything because we are trying to be as fair and as professional as possible. So I put that out there ahead of time so that I don't get the impassioned plea at 11:59 saying, but I just need one more day. Everybody needs one more day. I'm not going to lie. Everybody needs one more day. That's the agreed to deadline. Judging is going to take place the 19th through the 21st of September. And if you're submitting for professional achievement entries, those folks who are new, if you're going to be submitting your salespeople, your marketing managers, your superintendents, and so forth, we do an interview process on the 21st of September. And you will receive your candidates will receive a specific time and that day for their interview. It's a 10-minute interview. They are timed, and the reason for that is, and scheduled, is that we do a category in sequence. So for the judges, from 8 o'clock until 8:30, they're going to meet all the rookie salespeople in a row, okay? And the reason that they do that is after they've talked to those 4, 5, 10 people, they can then make their decision before they move on to sales team, okay? Then they'll do all the sales team counselors in a row, and then they'll make their decision. In the old days, or in other competitions, they would let people pick their times. Well, that makes that poor little judge's brain explode. So we don't do that. So when you do get those times, please note I can't really move them because they're done that way for a reason, and it's really in the best interest of your candidate and for the judges. For those individual achievement folks, those entries, that statement that you're going to write that is going to be submitted is an introductory letter. Okay, it's really what you're going to want to view it as is it's your letter to the judges saying, hi, this is Sandy. She's awesome. This year, she has sold over 75 homes in a new home community that has no signage, that is located off the beaten path and has no sales out of a sales trailer. She's selling from floor plans, but yet every day she has a smile on her face. She goes to work, and 2 out of 5 people that walk in the door, she converts to a contract. She's amazing. Okay, something that simple is a perfect introductory statement. You don't need to go into too much more because what's going to happen is you're going to also give their stats. You're going to give their volume. You're going to give their conversion rate. You're going to give all of those, that statistical information at the top of the page. And then they're going to come in, those individual achievement professionalism awards, and they're going to have 10 minutes with the judges. And really what that's going to allow them to do is have that one-on-one conversation to get that dynamic. Now, if for some reason they can't come in that day because they have contract signing or they're too far away or something happens, we do Skype, FaceTime, and or telephone interviews so that those folks have that opportunity to speak for themselves. And I will tell you right now, that's a huge deal. So if you're going to be doing those individual achievement, make sure that you've put that date on the calendar. Let those people know. Please let me know if you're going to be on vacation that week or if you're going to be around, because I'm thinking of submitting you, and I want to make sure that you're there for that in-person interview. We asked 3 questions during the personal achievement, and it's very simple. What are you most proud of? What was your biggest obstacle? And what do you feel is your give back to this industry? Okay? And normally from those questions, you elicit an entire, these people just rise up and they're so excited and they tell you everything about themselves without having to go into, so tell me about that lot number 12 that you weren't able to close. I mean, it's not a job interview. It's not a deep dive. Nothing's really it's really just so that someone can get an idea of who they are. So those are just some key things that I wanted to share with you about the individual achievement, because it demystifies for everybody. We do have a number of, I believe almost every category here is a nominated category. We do not self-nominate. You have to be submitted by a supervisor or the president of your firm in order to be in competition. And it has to be signed, they have to verify your numbers and so forth. So please note that.
Also, when you're out and about in the greater Denver area, especially associates, if you go to a builder and say, you should enter this project, it's great. They say, well, we feel weird about entering our stuff. Say, look, you've got great salespeople, or you've got great superintendents, and you don't have to enter any product if you want to enter these people to give them recognition, because that's really the backbone of everything. And that is a great entry for a builder too to start out getting in the process.
Absolutely. So the professional achievement categories, we do have a couple new ones this year. We have the Young Leader Award, which is new. It has no fee and no interview. That's going to be a nominated category, and is also going along with, I believe, our Young Leaders Council. Is that correct, ladies?
Yes.
Okay, so that's going to be, so if you have somebody who you want to submit, it used to be somewhat known as the Rising Star Award, but now it's been little readjustment, rebranded to the VR Young Leaders. So you have an up-and-comer, somebody awesome, somebody 3 weeks into the industry, you're it. Also, the Associate Partners of the Year and Trade Partners, those are builder nominated. So if you're a builder and you're working with someone who you believe should be recognized, it could be your framer, it could be your plumber, it could be your interior merchandiser, your architect, someone who's gone above and beyond. There's no fee, no interview, but I'll tell you what, if you want to say thank you to someone for doing, standing by you, please submit them. Those are the greatest categories. Also, superintendents, customer service, building professional, purchasing professionals, closing professionals. These are all the little, they're not the sales and marketing normal categories. They're the real guys behind the scenes who are making things happen. Usually very humble people. Please submit them and put them forward. Those make me cry during the show because they're usually the most humble people. So definitely submit them. Rookie sales professional, please note, rookie sales professionals, everybody goes, oh, it must be the youngest person. Not necessarily. We had a rookie in Dallas this year who was 60 years old. He had just made his transition over from selling at Nordstrom, and he decided he wanted to take his hand in real estate. And I'm going to tell you what, he was outstanding. He took the category. So rookie does not necessarily mean young. It just means someone who's been only selling real estate for less than 2 years. So online sales professionals, we have a category for you specifically targeted towards what you do. Talking about conversions, talking about appointments set, talking about how you guys do lead generation and follow-up. So that's a great category, and it's an expanding category. It takes some time to get it moving. We'd love to have more entries in that category. So if you have an online salesperson, please submit them. Marketing and sales managers always want those as well. So a couple other new categories this year. We changed the digital marketing category this year. If you're submitting for Shay, I know you guys have digital marketing. This year we're going to be talking digital ads, outboard digital marketing, and social media together. We also have a social media category as well, but the digital platform has been expanded. A few other changes I'm just kind of running through to see if there was anything else that we adjusted. Community amenity features. If you have a community amenity feature, it's not necessarily just for sale. It could also be for rent. So if you have a leasing clubhouse, any of those type of amenities, garden areas, any of those spaces in your new communities, that's a great category. Outdoor living space, Colorado rooms all day long. But note, here's the difference between what we were looking at in outdoor living space. It's how that space relates from the inside of the plan to the outdoor space, how their connectivity works, how it's planned, how it's organized, and how it's merchandised. So that's the intention of that category. For interior merchandising and architecture, we made some adjustments this year, and I know you ladies are all waiting to hear the information. Based upon entries over the last couple of years, we have determined that it is the most equitable to do it by price for interior merchandising, by sales price of the model, versus for architecture, we're going to do it based on square footage of the plan. So this is a difference, okay? So sales price for interior merchandising, the sales price of the home is determined by the cost of the land, the room options, and basement finish options as modeled, okay? Before design center upgrades, okay? So you don't have to include all your backsplashes and all the other goodies. It's cost of land, room options, and basement finish options before design center upgrades, okay? So if they've added the basement, it's a finished basement, and that's a $50,000 upgrade, and they also have the optional loft, and that was $10,000. It's however that model sits that you're going to photograph and that we may end up touring for Home of the Year. So it has to be in that manner. So it's not just the base price; it's the base price plus whatever physical options without finishes. Okay. It excludes design center upgrades, lot premiums, elevation costs, landscape, designer built-in, ceiling, custom lighting, and any other builder options such as doors, appliances, plumbing. Okay, you don't have to add in any of that. Doesn't include any of your merchandising costs and so forth. Okay, so you definitely want to talk to your builder and find out what that cost would be. It's all stated on the call for entries so that you end up in the right category. That is a very big deal because we do have this shuffling of the deck, and it gets a little bit confusing for us before we get into judging. We want to make sure that all of the apples are in the right baskets before we review them, okay? If you have any questions, call us. We'll walk you through it. But that is how we determine that the prices would be determined, okay? For architecture, we're doing it by square footage, and it's the same basic tenets. It's the square footage of the plan as modeled. So if it has a finished basement, you have to add the 100, 200 feet, whatever, how big that square footage is, along with any other room options, okay? So make sure that you understand that. And the reason for this is if you have a base plan, you know, it's a nice little ranch plan at 1,700 square feet, but then you added that basement at the bottom and it adds 1,000 square feet. It changes the dynamic of a house from 1,700 to 2,700 square feet. It's a totally different house. And so the judges get confused. We're like, wait a minute, I thought you said it was 1,700 square feet, but it's got a 1,000 square foot basement. That's an entirely different program. So we want to make sure that you guys understand that and you approach that, because the judges will figure that out and they will move you to the category that you belong in. So those are the big changes in those categories for this year. Also remember, if you're going for interiors and architecture, you can submit for Home of the Year. Home of the Year is a fantastic category, great marketing opportunity. It's based on the points that you receive for interior merchandising and architecture. And then it's basically how well that floor plan functions towards its target market. It's fantastic. If you have a fantastic new design series, a new community that you've opened up and it has 3 fantastic plans, design series is based on architectural design as it relates to its target market. We look at all those 3, 4, 5 plans together, and that's design series. Community of the Year is a little different. That is the overall marketing. That goes from your logo to all of your marketing pieces, including your logo, your brochure, your sales office, your interior merchandising, your architecture, and we took landscaping out. And we tour that in person to make sure that we can that everything that you marketed came to life in fruition. So that's Community of the Year. On the boards community, that's a community that's under construction but not quite open for sale. Okay, so you might be pre-marketing and doing some marketing on it, but it's not open yet. So that's the On the Boards community of the year, or On the Boards community. No, we've had it for a few years, but I always like to explain what the difference is, because every category in this awards program, you need to be open for sale or rent between July and August. I'm doing this July 1st, 2016 and August 31st, 2017. You have to have an open sales program. You have to be able to, write a contract. If you can't, then you go into the On the Boards, okay? Right? And then new for this year, we have a question.
Sorry, for the On the Boards community, if we're still under construction but we're also selling at the same time, are we still in that category? Or because we've got some things built, but we're still kind of finishing the rest of the whole community.
Do you have any occupancy?
Yeah.
You do? Okay, then you're okay.
Okay.
Yeah, no, you're fine.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah, as long as you're selling and you can take occupancy, then you're open for sale. Okay. This would be like you're going to probably be opening in the next 3 months. You don't have a sales office quite yet, but you're doing some pre-marketing and you're doing some branding.
Yep. But EV community, you're not On the Boards.
Right. Exactly.
I've got one more question too. For like a multifamily architectural project, would that just be in the 5,000 square feet and up?
No, we actually have architectural design for attached home, so you can go in that category there. And then we took out the multifamily community category, but you can go into community of the year. You can play there. We have attached home of the year, and then we have the community. And then what we do is, if we have obviously now if the construction law is changing here, we're going to have many more. But for this year, we split them. Single family detached kind of goes in its own little bucket. Multifamily goes in its own bucket, and they're like projects are viewed. So. And then new for this year, we're going to take the monthly $1 Million Sales Awards powered by J. Williams Staffing, and we're going to take them to the yearly recognition of the $1 Million Sales Achievers. Presented for $8, $12, $20, and $50 million. The entry fee is $125, and this is a non-judged category, the only non-judged category in the competition. This is simply recognition for your sales stars. So it's a very simple entry. Basically, you fill out the form. You explain it was Sandy. She sold $8 million, and you give her escrow number so that we have the backup that she did it. You pay the $125 entry fee. You send us her beautiful photo, and what we do is we recognize them at the show. We provide them with a beautiful award, and then they are honored that evening. So $1 Million Sales Awards, again, great way to recognize those folks who are out there doing fantastic work. And we were just talking about it I believe in Northern California, we just did this. They had 126 sales agents who were recognized. When we totaled up all of the dollar volume, they had sold over $2 billion in real estate that year, which is pretty astounding. And it's fantastic. And they get the biggest cheers. In Dallas, we just did theirs. They had cowbells going on and air horns blowing off when we were doing their salespeople. It was fantastic. So it's a great rally for the troops. And so don't miss that opportunity to recognize those folks. So when you're going through, definitely look at the requirements for the category so that you know what is required for each one of them. We've streamlined them down. It should be fairly simple. So when you're going to get ready, so the first thing you want to do, the first intent you want to going back to our professional process here, is you're going to go back and you're going to sit down with your team and you're going to strategize. And you're going to say, okay, we're going to get ready to go to Mame. Here are the categories we have to choose from. What do we have out there? What new community? What new process? What people do we want to submit for this awards program? And you're going to make your list. You're going to look at the requirements. You're going to determine what photography you may need, what plans you might want to pull, and so forth, so that you know what you need to get ready. Once you have that, that's when you're going to want to go to the system and you're going to want to go in and submit your entry fees. You're going to want to do that as soon as you have that list in concrete, okay? So that you can get those entry numbers processed, get your entry fees paid, so then you can begin your process of putting your materials together, okay? I say that because that's probably the one thing that everybody never does, okay? They always do it the back end way. They're like, oh, well, we have all this stuff. Oh, look, it's September 7th. We should submit. And then all of a sudden there's this rally and we get telephone, oh, where are the forms? I didn't find them. It's this rash of anxiety and stress and help me, and do you have a sample marketing statement that you can send me, and how do I number my plans? That right there, literally, if I could tell you, I can literally tell you the telephone starts ringing from 6 a.m. until 9 p.m. on the 3 days before a deadline of any awards program. And it is the stress and the amount of anxiety that's coming across the phone is palpable. So I just tell you that right now, avoid that.
That phone call you just got was probably from Florida.
It was absolutely from Florida because we're on deadline for another awards program today. And yeah, so that's just it. And so I really want to say, approach this as if you were approaching a business development deal, okay? Because really it's going to show, right? Once you get that list put together, then you're going to get all your instructions on how to put your entry together. You can begin the assembly of materials. Now, before we get into the assembly of materials and all that, let's take a step back. Let's talk about entries. So, the one thing I'm going to say is in your book that I put together is your tips and tricks for a successful program. We also have a handout. I'm just going to go through this kind of rapid fire. Plan ahead, review your entries, get that list together, submit. Photography, get the best you can afford, get it soon. Make sure that you're happy with the 6 to 8 images that you're going to submit for each one of those. Select those images early so you know. Marketing statements. Start doodling down notes about what set that either that home, that sales office, that marketing campaign apart. The best marketing statements, the best way, the analogy that I can give you is if you're going to sit down at a meeting and your contemporary was sitting next to you and you were going to explain to them, I'm really excited about this new Plan 3 that we just did at our new community. Let me tell you about it. However you would describe that to your contemporary sitting next to you is how you should write a marketing statement, because that's just it. You're speaking to someone who does what you do every day, and you're explaining your process, your obstacles, what you did that was unique and valuable, and in some new way. Do not write a marketing statement as though you were writing a piece for your brochure that's going to go to your consumer. When they're read to the judges just literally go, up, it's flowery. It doesn't come across. So that's my number one tip. Discuss elements in the photos and the imagery. Okay, if you want to talk about this the way you did this beautiful spa-like master bath, that's fantastic. But if there's no picture of a spa-like master bath, it's going to pretty much fall flat. Okay, don't talk about things we can't see. Make sure that you have your images in a sequential order. Make sure that you put them as though you're walking through. If you were taking someone and walking them through the home on a tour in person, literally walk through the front door, get to the next space, walk them all the way up to the bedroom. You have 8 images. Start at 1, go through 8. Those are the elements that are going to set you guys apart, okay? There's also some other little FAQs in there that I've given you guys, but I just wanted to go through those as well. Here's some great samples, and these are in your packages, and I just want to point them out. So here's a sample for logo and graphic continuity. Okay, so this project was located in San Marcos. This is how it looks when the judges receive it, okay? When it's presented to them. It's 4 across the top, 4 across the bottom, okay? That's literally what it looks like. So when you're putting your images in order, imagine that in your mind, okay? 4 across the top, 4 across the bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, okay? So that when you're ordering, because we take them exactly as you number them. We don't have time to sit there and move them around. So you're putting.
Master bath is your number one thing, and then you start talking about entering the lovely living room, and the first one's going to come up as the master bath. Just think about that process as you order it.
Exactly. Everybody always says, okay, so at the top of the form, it asks for some information. Well, of course, we have to be able to identify it, so it's going to have its entry number. We need to know where it's located so we can give them perspective of where it is in the market. Primary target market. Please, for the love of God, be descriptive. If you say, empty, entry level, mid-level, empty nesters, people looking for a new home. Basically, we then make the joke, human beings looking for new housing, okay? Give us, okay, so this is, look, it's an empty nester, or it's an active adult, it's first-time buyers. Be descriptive, okay? It's 18 to 29-year-olds who are looking because they have just had 2 or 3 kids, and this is, located in a place where they can afford. Be descriptive. So for this one, it was for active adults. Active adults just retiring who may still be working. Sales price of the plan, that gives us an idea of pricing. Square footage of plant. Now people always ask, why do I have to give you the square footage of a plan for a logo? Well, we need to know what size the houses are. If it's an active adult, we want to know. These guys are 1,300 to 3,500 square feet over 18 plants. Okay, well, it gives us perspective. This is a pretty big development and it has a wide range of offerings. Just gives us some idea. Dated open for sales. Obviously, we want to know, is it brand new or has it been open for a while? And then the website address. The website address is not for the judges. It's for the judging team in case a judge has a question, because then we can go to the website and we can do a deeper dive if for some reason something is not submitted or we don't have some additional information. So that's there as a reference point only. Only in the website category is where the judges would know what the URL is. The judges do not see your marketing statement. It's read to them, okay? So here's a great example of someone stating an objective and giving a bulleted point marketing statement. Okay, so the objective, memorable identity of graphics with a distinctly Texan flair for active adult community geared towards 55-plus community that enjoys food, fun, and fitness. They differentiated this project from an increasing number of active adult communities in Texas with the principal challenge. They needed to give a strong, bold font with PMS brown connoting a common hatch print poster style paired with a Texas star in PMS red. Tagline featuring the San Marcos name, which is a small town that is one of the highest ranking benefits of the project's location. Steeped in the land's traditions, the community name recalls Sam Houston's gubernatorial speech in 1857 in front of a mighty oak tree in San Marcos, where he kissed several female attendees and started a local legend. The bold font, unexpected name, and Texas star and location make this unforgettable. I'm going to tell you right now. The name of the project's Kissing Tree. We needed to know why it was named Kissing Tree. They told us, okay? It was a very simple little note, but it grounded it, it gave us relevance, and it was probably the #1 reason why this finaled at the Nationals, okay? Because everything else in that statement was, you could pretty much tell that it has, the font style, the colors, and so forth. That one line, steeped in the traditions about Sam Houston, that's the killer right there. That's where it stood out in front of the judges.
So is the bold just what you're showing us, or is that something that's helpful?
This is literally their entry.
So
You can do whatever, you can do that. Now, they don't see it.
That's true.
I read it, but when I see the bold, I do give a little bit more of a, so here's something you need to be aware of. And the bullet points help, because as you're going through, you can see how they kind of hit on different points.
And the 2 gray slides on their 8 images, those are blanks we put in because they only supply 6 images for this entry. So just be aware, anything less than 8, we put those in there.
Very good point. So yes, if 8 is the maximum number of images you have, use those up. But if you don't, this is how it'll appear if it doesn't. The judges are explained, hey, they had 6 images. Go ahead.
Okay, so you said they're put up the way they're numbered, but the number 5 and 8 are blank, so it's very centered and looks good.
Mm-hmm.
Should we submit blanks if?
No, you don't need to. We'll take it from there. Number it as you would.
When I open an entry up, because I'm the one that breaks it all apart, if it's 1 through 6, I take number 5 and 6 and I change them to 6 and 7, and then I put my blanks in there. And people seem to have such a hard time numbering as it is. To tell people if you only have 6 numbered, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7 would make people Nancy's point. So like when
So number them in the order we want them to be seen, but you'll make it centered on the screen.
numbers 5 and 6 will become 6 and 7.
Okay.
Yeah, great question though. Great, thank you for asking that. The reason I really wanted to show that is to explain that, because we do try to balance it. I mean, our goal is to present you in the best light for the best opportunity for recognition. We do not view this as any way to impede your entry. We want to help you. So and if we have a question, we'll call you. Okay, like, did you really mean to do this, or do you have additional? But yes, that's the intention. This is another example. This is digital marketing campaign. So they submitted in a totally different way. So here's what they did. This is digital marketing. So what they did is they placed their website actually on the computer screen so we could see how it looked on the computer. Then they did what we call composite slides. That second slide, as you'll see, has a gang of all their banners, okay? And then their third slide, they showed all of their social media posts. And their fourth slide was, I think that's their Pinterest board, okay? So they showed us all of the applications, but they didn't do it in 8 slides. They did it in 4, which is okay. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just an approach. So when you're putting these things together, you have to decide how you want to approach things. So again, this is one of those times, it's a great example of a marketing statement. In this instance, for digital marketing campaign, really what we're looking for, this is where we're not looking at how necessarily it just looked, but how it performed. Okay? So we can see how it looked, but what they go into and what we discuss is the clicks per month, the leads, how much they spent, and what their ROI was. Okay? So the results are the differentiator in this instance, in this category. So you definitely want to talk about those things. Well, the work is important to see what you did and what platforms you're using. It's really how they performed that the judges are looking to understand. The first thing we always get is, what are we judging in this category? What are we looking at? Well, we're looking at how they took their branding and they applied it to their digital marketing campaign. But really, what was their strategy? What were they trying to achieve, and how well did they do it? Okay? So for overall advertising campaign, here's another great example. So this is where they took and they showed us the breadth of it. Our first image has their print image, and they actually showed it in the magazine. Fantastic example. Showing how a print ad actually rides in a magazine is a great way. If you have the ability to do so, it's not required, but it sure does shine. As well as they showed their outdoor advertising. Then again, they reiterated their digital marketing campaign, their banner ads, their website, and then they went into and they did a gang of everything together. This is showing everything. Now, if you're going to be submitting across categories, I always like to say it's like building a case, okay? If you're going to submit and you're going to go for Community of the Year, or if you're going to go for overall advertising campaign, you're going to want to add, you're going to have your logo entry, you're going to have your brochure entry, you're going to have your digital ad entry, and then you're going to have your overall ad, and then you may have your final Community of the Year. Have those touch pieces because you're building that case. By the time we get to Community of the Year, they're like, well, yeah, I've seen and heard all of this. This is all very familiar. So again, remember, you're building a case, you're marching towards a goal, okay? So again, they come back, they talk about, again, why they were creating awareness in a very active adult market. They wanted to drive interest to their website in order to build a lead bank prior to their grand opening. They talked about their strategy because this was all the marketing that led up to their grand opening. So it gave us the fact of what they were trying to achieve. Campaign through local vernacular. They had a multimedia strategy covering all bases. Out of home, print, digital, broadcast, social, events, email, and well-timed public relations. This marketing team exceeded their corporate goals. They had over 65,000 unique visits to their website, 6,200 leads in their lead bank in a 7-month period. So what they did there is they told the judges, this is what we were trying to achieve, this is what our success was, and this was the time period in which we did it. I like to explain to folks, we all want to understand what someone was trying to do, but what did it end up, what was the end of the day, what did we achieve? So that's for marketing. For sales office, this is a great example for a sales office entry. This is a new sales office design. The interesting thing about this is it's a standalone sales office that they built on site for their new model complex. But what they did is they went through and they explained that this was their first shot. They're a new home builder, why they did it, how they recrafted it, how they went and did a different for the reasons that they decided to do things differently than they had done previously. It's a really good, different approach to a marketing statement that you might want to take. And they also talk about the results. The other interesting thing on this one, I added it, but it didn't come in this way, but it's kind of a unique solution. They had 7 images, but in that 8th slot, in order to show you guys, I wanted to show you how they did their floor plan. But consider this. Instead of having a blank in that 8th spot, they had the floor plan. The judges, when they're looking at their entries, we're an all green judging. We do everything digitally. So when the judges receive their entry materials, they receive a thumb drive with all the floor plans on all ordered. So when they're looking at the floor plans, they're looking at them on their own computer screen, normally as we're going through looking at the slides. Consider this. If they had placed that floor plan in that number 8 slide where they didn't have an entry, they would have had it up there for a little additional bit of time, and they could have remarked about the floor plan. So it's just an opportunity that I saw that I thought might be a good way of filling a hole.
One trick about that is if you want it to be an image, just number it as the 8th image. Don't write floor plan on it, but I'd have a separate floor plan in there, because what will happen is if I see floor plan, that goes into my floor plan bucket, not into my images bucket.
Right.
So.
Yeah. So make it your 8th image and then give the PDF for the floor plan. I'm just trying to look for other opportunities for you. Yeah. So here's an interior merchandising sample. I wanted to show you, this is 8 images. You have a vertical in there, so you can see how that appears. I also showed you this is a home that has 3 levels. They gave it to us as 3 separate PDFs. I'm going to suggest please make it one PDF with scrollable so that we can just scroll through the PDF so we can look at the floor plan. Clean, nice floor plans are great. They do not need to be, they don't have to have furniture in them, but if you do, that's fine. But it's not required and it's not necessary, but it does help. So it's something you already have from your merchandiser who's already done it for you. That's fantastic. If not, it's okay. This is another great example of a marketing statement because they just touched on it. They talked about their Scandinavian design, light and airy. They touched on the backlit onyx built-in, which was a striking memory point, which you'll see in the first slide. And then they talk about the marriage of simplicity and minimalism. So basically, they touched on the high points of the elements that you see in the imagery, but they don't go into a deep dive. Okay, so it's just another great example of a statement. I also put on here, note the numbering, and I'm going to reiterate that. Please, for all of us, follow the sequencing of the numbering as stated in the samples and online. What happens is when all these entries come in, if they're not numbered properly, we have to go back and renumber them. Can you imagine? You have like 5, 10, maybe 20 entries. We have 600 entries to number. When someone has to go back and renumber, that's where, if we have to touch and do anything, it just makes it a little more dicey. It's like dealing with little grains of sand. If it's done right, it falls nicely into place. If we have to renumber, it just makes a little, we really don't want to touch your entries if we don't have to. Our final example is an architectural design example. And again, this is a nice way of putting your entries into a nice presentation. Walking through the home, we walk through the front door, through the kitchen and the great room, into the den, out to the backyard, showcasing the outdoor living application, upstairs to the master bedroom, secondary bedroom, master bath, and then the master bedroom. We don't have an 8th image. They could have shown us their floor plan there, but it wasn't necessary, but it would have been a nice little other detail. Again, this one, very interesting. They didn't really talk about so much about the architecture, but what they did talk about is the fact that this was a home that they were reviving from a master plan that had been dormant during the downturn. And so what they had to do is they had to use the pre-recession plans need to fit today's buyer preferences. So the design challenge with this home was to retain the already approved footprint while updating the elevational character and the space allocation. Okay, so they had the footprint they already had to use. They just had to redesign the house from all the way up. Well, there's a design challenge. So basically what they had to do is they had to make it all work. They retained the charm, the character, and they adapted it into the contemporary fresh elevation plus all the great room and open air living. So they explained it in a different manner. They really did, in that more conversational, hey, let me tell you what we had to do. So we had to use it this way. All of these different examples are just different methods of gaining someone's attention when writing your statements, okay?
I just wanted to do a sequencing thing in the judging. So in the judging, the 8 images, like we mentioned, they're on the whole screen here. This verbiage, of course, isn't. And so they're all up there. Let's say there's 10 entries in a category. So we show all 8 images. Lisa basically gives them this information first, then we go to the next one, just as a brief summary. The judges have what we call the judges' cheat sheets, which will give them square footage, and they have all that already, so they can make little notes as we go through. Then on the second pass, we blow each one of these up individually, so that they get more detail, and that's where she reads the marketing statement. And then after we do the 10 entries, or however many there are, then they can go back. That's what it actually looks like. Then they can go to entry 43. Go to entry 40.
It's funny you say that, Shane. I have a video.
There you go. Go to this entry, and we can jump around through the category as they narrow it down to get their finalists.
So this is an example of what the judging system looks like. You can see the numbering is below it. They refer to everything in the numbers, okay? So that's why that numbering is really important. And so let's see if it'll run here. Let's see if my... Okay, so let's take a look at entry 4304, located in Lone Tree. This home is targeted towards young professionals and families with a base price of $669,000. Square footage is 5,686 square feet. Beautiful inside and out, the attention to detail in this house is unparalleled. From carefully selected materials and color on the exterior to a well thought out livable floor plan inside, this house has it all. The open rail stair wows upon entry, but once around the corner, the glassed-in studies tucked below the stairs steals the show. The light and bright great room, designed to capture the beautiful views with expansive windows, opens to an infinity kitchen, which perfectly conceals a butler's pantry. An extra-large island, perfect for entertaining or casual meals, anchors the kitchen and provides extra counter space. The master suite screams luxury with its private covered balcony, fireplace, oversized walk-in closet, and a spa bath. Upstairs, a multifunctional loft is a perfect place for crafts or homework. All outdoor spaces in this home are oriented towards the stunning mountain views because that's exactly why we live here in Colorado. Let's have a discussion now on this plan, judges, and our thoughts. Okay, so that is literally how fast your entry goes by. Okay, that's real time.
Did anybody notice one small error on otherwise a really perfect layout of a thing?
Like that spa bath.
It didn't show an image.
So, but here's the other key. They wrote to their images. So literally, they talked about they hit all the little points and pointed them out as we were walking through, just as though they were walking through the house. That was almost a perfect entry.
As we've been doing these how-to seminars and giving these, write your statement to that, we've had people go as far, and this is not a problem, we've had people go as far as slide 1, and Lisa reads slide 1, slide 2, so I know to go to slide 2, or next, or whatever, so that you really are engaging the judges in how you want them to see your images.
In the bullet points?
Yep.
In the bullet points, or
You just have to say slide 1. I can just say 1, 2, and I'll read that, and he'll know to click.
And it's not just for interiors; it could be for marketing entries as well.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Sandy,
that's
go
my
ahead.
question. Is
Yeah.
the vertical that bothers me, is that a negative?
No,
You can cut 'em off. It
it doesn't hurt it. They pop back up. It's fine. And if you're showcasing a space that you need to have that verticality, it's not a problem at all.
Okay. And one more question.
Mhm.
How many would you get, like we're trying to decide how much time we spend on this, like interior merchandising for a local city? Do you get like 10 or you get like 100 or what do you get?
So, depending, interior merchandising is definitely the highest volume of entries in the majority of the Mame Awards across the country.
Okay.
Average, you'll get anywhere between 8 in a category all the way up to 30.
Okay.
What we like to do is when we get to about 20 entries, we look for the opportunity to break the category. If there's a break in price, we'll look and say, okay, we can split this category because there's 15 and this under, let's say it's $350 to $450. Oh, we can break it at $400,000 because there's 15 here and 15 there. We'll look for opportunity to expand recognition because that's just it. This is about recognition, and the work might just be incredible. So yeah, we're always looking to do that. We'll do that as well in architecture. We've split categories in brochure, where we've had brochure categories where they've come in. At the Nationals, we have one category for brochure. It ends up being 4 categories. We have high-rise, we have single community, we have master plan, and then we have a new one called lifestyle. And you've seen those that everybody's got their new lifestyle magazine or a newspaper or an insert. So we are always looking to expand recognition if there is a need. So always know that there's, if you think I always equate everything to apples, oranges, kiwis, and kumquats. If you're a banana, we're going to try to find a way for that banana to shine. Okay?
But it's not a participation award. If you get up there, it's because you earned it.
Absolutely. That is, God, I'm so glad you said that, Shane, because that's really something that we've been talking about recently is, just by submitting an entry, it's not guaranteed. We're now in categories, again, where we'll have 8, 15, 25 entries, and the judges are looking for something that is worthy of recognition. If you're just going to submit it and it looks like you've just done your job and you kind of approach the entry that way, it's like, well, that's great. They did their job. That's what you're supposed to do. But if you approach it and say, but this is why we did something different, or we took a challenge, or we overcame something, or this, sometimes this home, we've had actually a fairly solid home that is not necessarily groundbreaking, but yet it hit its target market and it sold. It was a winner. That normally I can take it from not being recognized to being a finalist and or a winner. So it's all about how you promote it. I'm trying to remember if I had any questions that you guys have that I haven't gone over so far.
I have a question. For the architectural design categories, what would you say about, so when we design a home, we'll design 3 different elevation options, and the builder will select one of them to build, and that's what gets photographed. But say we're like, hey, maybe this elevation isn't super exciting, but we have these renderings of the other ones that we feel are exciting. Like, how would you feel about including that within the entry? And
If you have that 8th slot open, put that in there and say, hey, they chose to do the Spanish, but hey, we have this really cool contemporary one that they decided not to model. So I just wanted to show you that there's, we have the opportunity to do it that way. I would absolutely showcase that.
Or include it in the PDF of the plan.
Or put it in your plans.
We've had that happen before where we're in the judging, they just go, hey guys, check out the Spanish down here at the bottom and look at it that way.
Absolutely.
okay.
We call this year the 50 Shades of Gray, and everybody's talking about their gray for their interior merchandising. So that's a hot point. Here are my hot tips for things to avoid in your marketing statement that get a chuckle. Spa-like master bath. Everybody's got a spa-like master bath. Talk about what's in the bath that makes it unique. We use some interesting fixtures, or we added, dual heads, or we used onyx underneath with specialty lighting. Everybody's got a spa-like master bath. Rooftop decks. If you've got a rooftop deck, explain how the rooftop deck engages, how it's being used. Outdoor living space. Explain how it functions. If it's, it adds that extra square footage on that great room, and how they're really going to use that space and they're going to engage that space. We figure 50% of the time the buyer's going to be out in this space because it's just, it's so activated between the kitchen and the outdoor living. Secondary bedrooms, they're great in interior merchandising. Maybe you don't need them if you have some other shot you want to use in architecture. Don't use that space for that because, okay, it's a secondary bedroom. Help me, Shane. Any other thoughts?
Gourmet kitchen.
Oh, yeah. Everybody's got a gourmet kitchen. Find some other descriptive word of talking about why that kitchen is, got something exciting.
And those are bad. It's just
Frequently
everybody's doing it,
used.
So if you find another way to be descriptive about it, it'll kind of set your entry apart.
Absolutely. Other topics. Those, if you're doing for marketing categories, showing for a website entry, even though we judge the website online, they are literally sent your URL about 5 days before we gather as a group. Make sure all your updates are done. Make sure everything's looking fresh. Please, for the love of God, be mobily optimized, because that's the first thing. Majority of our judges are now doing their judging on an iPad or on their phone. So they want to see that it functions. They want to make sure that everything's there. So that's a hot tip for website. Digital media, if you can show it to us on the screens, if you can place it on there and position it so it looks like what it would do on a screen or gang it, that really helps, because it helps them to understand how things play together. Intent. Explain your intent, why you did what you did, the way you did it, from every category, from the logo, the reason why, if this was that kissing tree, I'll be real honest, that entry right there, it stood out from the point. They talked about the fact they were in Texas, people relate to Texas. They had a local buyer, but they had a relo buyer, so they really wanted it to be stand out. They talked about the kissing tree, so it made it relatable on hometown. But then the other thing is, they talked about also how they were targeting the younger empty nester. The one, if you look in their one marketing piece, I don't know if I can build it, they showed these folks, it was kind of like this pop arty kind of interesting art, but they're on motorcycles and they're doing fun things, and they actually had a Harley special event where had everybody come and had a Harley ride. So they knew that this was not the, as I call it, the older empty nester. These were what we call freebirds. Freebird empty nesters are those folks whose kids are just gone off. They're young enough that they're out running around because they're finally free. They may have some money because they've just paid off the college tuition, and they're going to want to run around and travel. Okay? So it was definitely a strategy that they put into place. And when they explained that, everybody really kind of jumped on board with the campaign. For the individual achievement, again, you don't need to be overly verbose. Just tell the story. It really helps. They'll shine through. Any other questions that I can address? Or as you're going through, oh yes.
What is I know the last few years there's been like an area in which the home had to be located, re-entry. What is that area?
The 8 counties that cover this are, I have that right here. I believe I do. They are Adams, Arapahoe, Boulder, Broomfield, Denver, Douglas, Elbert, and Jefferson. Okay, so the community must be located within those. And the reason for that is that's the coverage of the HBA. And also when we're touring, that's about as far as we can get. Now for Community of the Year and Home of the Year, depending on how many entries we have, we tour them in person. We will let you know that we're coming so that people will know when a van full of people is going to pop up and show up in their door. I will tell you, it is a really big deal to let them know we're coming. Never fun to walk in and the sales agent goes, hi, who are you? And we say, well, we're here from the Mame Awards. What are the Mame Awards? Nobody told us. I have a client. I'm signing a contract. No worries, we'll walk through the homes, but it puts them off. It puts the sales agent off. The judges are like, what? So always let people know.
All we ask of them is to give us their 10-minute elevator speech, 5 minutes of how the community's doing, who's buying there, some overall stuff. They don't have to go through and demonstrate the houses for us because we are on a pretty tight schedule, so we walk through pretty quickly. And it's really no big deal, but it is good that they know that somebody's coming that day.
But you're only touring from the home of the year, community year.
Yeah, we don't tour everything. It's just we don't have enough time to do that. It is kind of fun though, as if you're going to submit that sales agent who's at that community for salesperson, because they see them in their environment and then they come in the next day, which is actually, that's kind of a hot tip, because if you should submit that person, because that's actually a little BOGO.
One thing that I recall in two instances, Lisa was saying about building your case if you're going for Community of the Year, it may sound like a no-brainer, but if you put all those entries together, don't forget to enter Community of the Year. We had a national a few years ago. The judges were looking at stuff, and we try to get them. We say, don't fall in love. We're going to share the wealth and things, but sometimes something really rises to the top. And we got to Community of the Year, and they're going, "Where's the enter it?" And
Well,
so
perfect example is Kissing Tree.
that's another.
They literally put everything in and didn't go for Community of the Year. And when we came to Community of the Year, the judges were already like, okay, here we go. We're going to give it. I can't wait to see it. They're going to totally get it. We put up all the finalists, all the entrants. Where's Kissing Tree? They didn't go. They didn't rent it.
And just
What?
Just one other tip, and we just had this in Dallas. Again, something was very good, and we were going through it, and we were judging at the HBA, and we called down the person and said, this entrant has all the stuff, and they're really liking it. They did enter for Community of the Year. They called the ad agency that entered and said, the judge, they didn't give them any overall, which are
Did you mean?
Are you sure you didn't want to enter Community of the Year? No, we're good. So just a clue, if you get a call during the judging and somebody asking if you wanted to do that, say, yes, I'll send my entry fee and I do want to do that.
$175. That's literally what the breaking point was. It was the saddest thing ever. Yeah. Okay, so we do have about 50% of the room who hasn't gone through the online process before, the online entry system. So I just wanted to do a test entry for you guys just so you can see how easy it is and give you kind of some tips. So it's very simple. It has a drop-down menu. There it is again. Another call. Same person. So I'll call you back. So here's what happens. You can select your entries. So let's say you're going to submit rookie. You're going to put in the project name. It's going to say project name. If you're doing an individual achievement, it's obviously the person's name. Lisa Parrish. And the location is location of the project that they're built at where they are. I'm selling in Castle Rock. And really it's just so that we know, kind of gives us a general idea. It's going to ask you for builder and associate because we're asking that for other categories. If it's not applicable to the category that you're submitting, just put NA. Now, I'm going to submit a multiple projects. I have a little button here that says add a project. I can add another one. I'm going to submit now for best logo. Put in my Apple Estates. It's located in Castle Rock. My builder is ABC Builders. And my associate would be my ad agency in this case. So it's going to be ABC Agency. Now I'm going to add another entry. I'm going to submit for my interior merchandising. It's Apple Estates. Interior merchandising, please give us the plan name or number. So it's Plan 1, Castle Rock, Colorado, ABC Builders. This is my associate, would be my interior merchandiser. So it'd be ABC Interiors. Now, I've got all my entries. Now, I've double checked it. Do I have any other entries? No, I'm good. Oh, wait. Do not click Add a Project accidentally because you can't remove it. That's the one problem. This is the one Achilles heel to this system. So when you're adding those projects, make sure you're looking at your list.
You have to X out, go back.
Yeah, I'll tell you, that's like the #1 pain in the butt. Your entering company is ABC Builders. Your email, because that email is very important. The email that you put in there is the email that the notification is going to go to. So if you put in your email of your boss, but you want it to come to you, it's not going to come to you. It's going to go to your boss. The reason I say this is 50% of the phone calls I get are, I put my information in, but I never got the email. When I go back and check it, it's gone to somebody else's contact. Contact name should be your own. You have to fill out all the little zones, not really very hard. Your zip code, your telephone number in case I need to call you. You're going to put in your billing information. Now, the billing information is where how the invoice is going to be addressed. So if it needs to be addressed to someone in accounting, that's fine. The billing information can be different than the contact information. Contact information is who the contact is for the entry. Billing is who needs to get the invoice. So it's going to go to ABC Builders. It's going to go to Lisa because I pay the bills. Company name. Sorry, I put that in wrong. First name, last name, ABC. And if you were doing this on your computer, it autofills. I'm not putting in my autofill here. Actually, I probably can. There it is. I hit check. How we're doing it this year, there are no credit. You can pay with a credit card, but what we're doing is when you submit this, it's going to go to the HBA. The HBA is going to build you an invoice and send it to you. You can pay by credit card and or check, and it's all going to go through Toby Payoff here at the HBA. Okay? You're going to click submit, and it's going to say thank you. You've done it. You've received the thank you. If you get to this point, you're good to go. Now, X out of there. Go to your email. There it is. Thank you for your submission. There's your goodies. It's got all your information. It's going to remind, there's your entry numbers. It's going to remind you when your deadline is. That's going to remind you that you need required forms, digital images. We have a few little errors there on my programming that I'll fix. And it's going to save it, and you're going to go back up, and you're ready to rock and roll. Okay? Now, just to go back, if you need your forms, where the forms are located on the website, they're a download, I believe. Entry forms on a separate page. Forgive me, we're down here on my cell phones trying to read. They're all listed here by category. So you can go back and download them as you need. So if you click on you need the sales awards form, you click on it, it's going to download, and it's going to be in Word format so that you can edit it. Okay? So those are always there if you need them, and they're all numbered so that you know exactly which form for which category that you may need.
Do you want us to turn that Word form into a PDF?
It can be either way. We will take it either way, your preference. So the one thing that I will tell you, the team and project information form has been updated this year. It used to be 2 forms. The team form used to be 1 form, and then the project information was another. We just made it one nice form now. The team is who needs to be recognized and their contact information. The bottom of the form is just that, the location, the target market, the sales price, and then your 200-word narrative. The 200-word narrative, we don't count your words, okay? Use your words wisely. It's not the number of words, it's making those words count, okay? So we've given you all those styles and those samples of how you want to how you want to submit it, and what the tone you want to put. We don't count, but I will tell you this: if you get really long and verbose, the judges will simply say to me, "Stop reading."
Is it less is more?
Less is more.
Bucket statements.
Oh, yes, thank you. If you're going to be submitting and you're going to submit across, multiple categories, do not write one boilerplate statement and put it on every single one because you think, oh, well, we've covered everything in this one, and it'll just be good, and they can just know about it. If I start reading a statement that they've heard before in website, and then I read the same statement in interior merchandising, and then I get to architecture, and it's the same statement, they laugh. The judges literally go, really? Seriously? Like, the statement needs to be to the entry. Even if it's just 3 sentences, it needs to be.
Creating an A project versus a B or a C.
Absolutely.
You're gonna be wanting to have, there's a different description for architecture as there is the interior design as the marketing. So.
Now, within that saying, if there's something that we have cut with that we talked about the day that you're going to enter in another category that we didn't give you a sample for, just email us. Hey, listen, I'm submitting in Design Center. Do you have a sample Design Center entry? We'll send you Design Center entries. We'll walk you through it. If you want to call and read us a statement, we'll critique your statements. Anything that you want to do, we're here to help you. Our goal is to help you get recognized, okay? That's what this is all about. This is absolutely 100% not like doing your taxes, okay? We want you guys to be successful. We want to see that fantastic work, and we want to see you guys on stage. So we really, and believe me, we call every single person back. We email everybody back. We really want you to shine. And we try to do it within 24 hours. If for some reason you don't hear back from me, I'm just working my way through the list.
Or write a judging, or we're doing one of these.
Yeah, that's it. That's probably it. Email is probably the fastest, though. I will tell you, email is probably the fastest to get the answers because we can be emailing rapid fire. And we'll, Dropbox you back a sample entry, or critique that statement. Hopefully this helped. I hope that you guys all go back and you're inspired. I hope you go back and go, we have amazing information, amazing product, amazing people. Pull that out. Start talking about it soon. Get your sponsorship. Get your tickets. Make your plans because it'll be here before you know it. And that room only holds 538 human beings. If you're the 539th, there's not much we can do for you.
Is it at the same place as last year?
Yes, it's at the Soul Ballroom. And so there's also early bird ticketing pricing. So by the 29th of September, it's $130. And then it goes up after September 29th. So make sure you make your reservations. And remember, we're in November 4th this year. We're a month later. So the good news is the deadline's later and the show's a little bit later. So mark your calendars, make sure you're there. It's going to be the toast of the town.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.